Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome to our 4th ever Beige Carpet After Party live stream review. This is going after the one that just finished here today on January 15th, and to discuss the content of the live stream review, we've got Sinzar, Elmsmore, and Flip Method here, so I'm going to go ahead and let them say hello, and then we're going to dive straight into some topics of discussion about the live stream. So guys, feel free to say hello.
What's up? Thanks for inviting me yet again.
Hey everybody, thank you for inviting me again, Gert.
Thanks for having me, Gert. Let's get into this.
Let's get into this. He's so excited. So our first question that I had for you, so just your like hot take gut reaction, like what was your initial reaction to tonight's live stream, and how does that compare to previous live stream events that we may have had?
This time they started it off with like the gaming section, or like the game show section, which I've mentioned before. I'm not really a big fan of those. I think it's just really not for me. You know, some people like it, some people don't, but it's not for me. And they spent like 35 to 40 minutes doing goofy fluff material before the live stream even really started. And I didn't love that. Like, it's fine at the end where I can just like, okay, it's over, the games are starting, I'll just tune out at this point. But I had to sit there through it because at any moment the real stream could have started. So I really don't like that being at the start of the stream.
I actually kind of wondered about that, because I don't know if you guys noticed, like halfway through the stream, they like went backwards through all the slides that they were gonna have, and I'm wondering if it had to do with the like technical issue that they were having. So like maybe they started with that just in case like people were coming for the other stuff. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong. What do you guys think about that?
See, I thought they made a conscious decision to do it like this because if you make people wait until the end, your viewership should go up, and you should have a longer, more consistent viewership through the whole thing because people have to sit there and wait. So I thought they were doing it on purpose.
Okay.
I think, I mean, it's nothing new. They've kind of always done it. So, and it personally doesn't bother me as long as the main material has meat to it. I mean, it's pretty childish and stuff or whatever, but that doesn't bother me. It's just give me meat and gravy for the rest of the live stream. Don't make it just like a blink of an eye, a recap of the news we already are aware of, and then end it.
Sure. So do either of the two of you have any other just like initial reactions you want to just like throw out there?
I thought that it was very quick when they got to the actual meat. They went very fast. Before I could even analyze a slide, they were on to the next one, you know? So that very much took me by surprise.
Yeah.
It was lacking, it's nothing new, but it's sad because they should learn and they should add more stuff. But it just went so fast, and it literally was just a recap of the news. Nothing really exciting, nothing interesting. There's no one more thing. Let me show you this that's coming to excite us, you know? Like, anyways.
Even if it's fake excitement, gives me excitement. You know, be like, and we have the new unit, and here they are. I really like how they're holding that weapon, and oh, look at that. You know, like, even if it's fake excitement, give me excitement. You know,
like when they promised me a COV once a month.
Yeah, something I would like to see is if they're going to. I'm sure that like the staff has access to things like Clash of Wills and all for testing before it releases. So they've probably like played the Clash of Wills and all, or I would at least hope they have. So it could have been nice to give them like some tips, like early tips, like, you know, the boss does this. You know, I realized they did like a few just basically read from the news, but something like, you know, I tried a team with, I don't know, Chow and 2B on the party, and it went this way, something like that. You know, share their actual experiences instead of just like a script would have been real nice.
That could be pretty cool. So in regard to the stream itself, was there anything that you guys think was improved over previous streams, or has anything gotten less effective?
I would say less effective. I mean, they do less and less every time, and like everybody's pointing out, the fun and games part was like 30 to 40 minutes long, and then the meat and gravy was 20 to 30 minutes tops, and most of it was just them adjusting their volume or whatever. There was nothing to get me excited. So to me, the live streams goes up and then down and then more down and then sometimes a little back up, and that's it.
I'm actually trying to focus on like what did they improve this time, and I think maybe they actually improved the game part of it. Like that actually felt more entertaining than the last time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We at least got to choose the cream puffs.
Yeah, we got to choose the cream puffs. That was actually interactive. So.
For what improved, I guess I would say it seemed like Justin was within like a better mood, I guess. So it's, more positive was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Last time you seemed a little slightly disinterested. This time you seemed at least into what he was saying.
You thought so? To me, he always seems so stale. Like he's so stale.
He's definitely not like a cheerleader personality or anything, but for Justin, I felt like it was better than usual.
I'm gonna agree with Sinzar on this one. For his personality, he was more on the ball.
What did you guys think of all the Man Up Tony comments in the chat?
I didn't pay attention to it.
You weren't paying attention to that? It had to do with Tony making the director go first with the cream puff. So
it was amusing. I have eaten wasabi and I hate it because I don't like overly spicy stuff. So like the idea of sticking a ball of wasabi in my mouth would just make me throw up. So I couldn't do it.
Fan of that. I could do it. I could do it all day. I love it.
I did get a couple of really good screenshots. I'm going to show that in just a second. So, last question for you guys. Was there anything you wish you had heard more about by the end of the stream before we dive into the content?
One word, more about the game. That game.
The
Two words,
game.
actually.
Yeah, Brave Exvius in total. Whenever they were actually going to give us information about the game, which is the whole purpose of the stream, they sped by, speed read the script, and then signed off.
Yeah.
So, anything more I wish I heard? Everything. Like, anything. Like, spend time jib-jabbing. Like,
yeah, for me personally, I wish they would focus more on current events. And I realize they probably don't for like PR reasons. It's better to pretend like it doesn't exist. But like, for example, this week, a hot topic has been the shard acquisition of Sonnen, the free unit, and the way it is an absurd energy sink that Global did not adjust. And lots of people, it's been all over Reddit. It's been constantly talked about in Discord. I've seen people seen, so they are definitely aware of the feedback. And the fact they didn't even address it at all is a little disappointing. I wish they would, talk about current events in the game.
Well, and I think what's interesting about that one particular, just to throw, maybe throw our opinions out there, is just that the difference between Sonnen and Reno is so vast. I mean, I think you said in your news review that you had 3 EX3 Renos in less than like an hour. And like, I can only speak for myself. I've been playing since the event came out, and I'm only at EX2 Sonnen. So like it's definitely a vast difference.
I did Lapis Restore for energy for Sonnen for EX3, and it took me 900 Lapis. 900
Lapis. That's a lot. And so I'm assuming you probably have like 208 energy in your supply, right? Something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
That's wild.
Well, if I could step in and interject in there, I was talking again with the French community earlier today about Sonnen actually, and we're all like, this unit seems so bad. Like, I'm not even going to put in the effort to put into EX3. Do you guys have something to rebuttal to that?
Well, it's true that he is a free unit and he is like mid-tier, but for players that, have the good units, you're definitely not going to use the free Sonnen. I think he's personally fine because he's definitely way above like the majority of existing Neo units. So for a new player, he's very strong. Like, you'd rather use Sonnen over Furion any day of the week. But he's definitely not going to do anything for veteran players. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the fact that we're discussing and everybody was like, especially the new players that I was talking to in the first community, were like, it costs so much energy for me to put him to EX3. I don't think I'm even going to bother. I'm just going to pull the next real unit.
It was very expensive for energy. And for me, I do the Esper dungeons every day, and those are 100 a pop. So I had to use a refresh because there's no way that I get enough energy to be able to do the Esper dungeons and this at the same time.
Yeah, I've been juggling that myself. Okay.
Yeah, it's really rough energy wise, absolutely.
Yeah, the energy energy is rough. Yeah, for sure.
Plus for DV for people who want to keep
And
retrying
DV.
DV.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at some pictures. So the very first thing that we did was the cream puff challenge, and so just to kind of show you that there were some games where you get to pick, which cream puffs they eat, and they just randomly were filled with wasabi, and so, Tony went first, and he had some wasabi, and it was pretty gnarly looking there. And then
That is a great screenshot.
It was a good one, right? Hiroki was managed to not get any until the very, very end, which was great. And the end result of that is our reward. So how do you feel like, sitting through 30 minutes of the cream puff challenge? Is this a good set of rewards for us?
It's a diamond enlightenment key, which is probably the most interesting thing in that batch. So that gives you 10,000 EP or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
So that's pretty nice. The rest of it's like generic stuff.
I mean,
Sure.
I'll always take the lapis.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, but Lapis comes all the time. So.
Yep.
I mean, 7 years into the game, personally, I think that's just not enough. I think they should give more. Not necessarily Lapis, but just more of everything else. Because it's so generic that EX, I don't even want EX tickets anymore for 5 stars that I'm going to be selling for Gil. Even for new players, they want NV units. They don't want that, So I don't know, man. Just give me more.
No, man.
7 years into the game, give me more.
They don't always have to give us Lapis. They could give us, like a little bit of dark matter as today's reward, or something that's in game. Doesn't have to be Lapis.
I could see an argument for trust coins. With the update to the trust shop, I could totally see it up, some trust coins or something like that, which is basically what a guaranteed 5-star ticket is at this point.
Or EX coins, because now you can buy unlimited, Esper Ore things, relics.
Star quartz.
Mystery crystals. Give me a mystery crystal.
Mystery crystal, yeah, for sure. All right. So that was the first 30 minutes of the stream was that. So we're going to get into the fun stuff now. And so let's take a look at our first new unit. So Lunar Festival Cleome. Who is surprised by the tags she has? I'm surprised by that.
Mage and support.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm more disappointed otherwise, because I prefer the units that do a lot of stuff, and being just a damage dealer and then just a damage dealer support in the shift form, which, depending on how much support it is, it could be great, but, I'd rather things like, well, she's a mage, so she wouldn't get it, but currently the big thing that me and a lot of players want is a 90% defense breaker that's actually good, and it's not going to be her, obviously, so maybe next month.
This is a question that may not know the answer to, but whenever a unit has 2 types, like for instance on the second part she has mage first and then support second, does that mean she's primary mage and secondary support, or do they just stick both on there? Like, is she going to be more of a mage or more of a support based on the placement of the icons?
That's a good question.
No, I don't think so. It's just the way the icons always are. It's always the real role and then the side roles.
I do not know.
Really good question.
But I have to voice my disappointment.
Okay.
Like I like Cleome, but really, like a lot of Chinese units people loved that do not have NV. Why a new one? Why Cleome? Where's Aang? Where's Baizu? Where's John Woo? Give me one of those NV. Why a brand new unit?
One thing worth noting, just because we can see it here, is that she is a Brave Shift unit and not an SLB unit. And it doesn't say anything about, durations or anything like that. So hopefully that's a true Brave Shift, available at EX1. How do you guys feel about that?
It's better than SLB, but, Trance Shift versus True Shift is, it's still always better than SLB, but it could be like, a 1-turn trance like Lotus Mage Fina and then 5 turns if not. So that's almost effectively the same as an SLB, but it just really depends on the cooldowns or if it's permanent or not.
Right.
I hope it's always true Brave Shift for for Global Original specifically. I always hope that it's true Brave Shift. We have to see what comes out of that, but
But we've seen that they're willing to do trance shift with units like Chizuru.
Mm-hmm. Could go either way. I think the sprite looks pretty good though. Even if you're not a huge fan of the unit herself, I think that they did a good job on the sprite. Very colorful, very vibrant. You know, I think it looks
True.
good.
I think it's a great sprite.
I'm not the biggest fan of like the Kingdom Hearts bubble on the shift sprite.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish that wasn't there.
I could see that because if you had that, if she was like in like slots 3 or 6, that could be like covering up half your team.
Yep.
It's there for no reason. It's not her. It's this doily thing that she's making.
Yeah. Kaito has that too though, and he like his kind of like fluctuates in and out. So like if you just look at a static picture of Kaito, he's got that huge bubble. So does Sylvie. But when you look at them animated, like they kind of like they're not always there. So maybe it'll be okay. Let's take a look at the STMR and TMR. So we've got the Sanguine Chrysanthemum, Magic 240, two-handed. Activates 500 magic for her and boost equipment magic 100% when single-wielding both hands. What do we think about that? Another STMR two-handed weapon.
Can only face palm so hard.
Why?
It's just... It is the ultimate in lazy. I am so sick of every single global unit having an STMR weapon. Please mix it up every now and then.
I agree, and I've voiced that concern many times already.
You have?
Yeah, I'm tired.
I liked when it could be a STMR resistance robe or something, but no, it's always just a weapon.
It is kind of nice though that it's a katana that's giving magic. I know with everybody running, katana builds for everything right now, just having a nice option that isn't Cal's STMR is good. So
yeah, and I mean for her it's fantastic. Hopefully.
But at the same time, it kind of limits your options because she's a mage, and other mages with katana, it's Laswell and Svard and Cal, like you said, that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that limits her options. So I'm not impressed, and I'm not sad at the same time because I like katana wielders. I like this whole samurai thing, but I don't know.
For those people running Mage Laswell, you got your new best in slot.
The Final Fantasy IV one, you mean?
Oh, you mean the old one? I was going to say the upcoming premium Laswell actually uses guns in his mage form.
Oh.
It's very weird.
That is weird.
Yes.
Where does that come from? Okay.
What?
All I can hope is that she has like a 40% katana debuff in her kit.
That would be sweet. So the Trustmaster reward, a Musical Maiden's Garment, MP 150, Magic 60, Spirit 20, gives her an additional 500, so obviously it's going to be best in slot for her. LB damage 50%, fit boost physical and magical versus Reapers and Machines. Interesting combination.
Just a small correction. With the updated Clash gear, it's actually 500 magic less than the Ruler's Magister's chest. Or the Ruler's clothing.
If you were using it on her.
Right.
Yeah.
But you only get one Ruler's clothing, so.
Yeah.
We're getting to that. We're gonna get to that. So hold your horses there. But obviously you want at least one of those. So if you get her, go ahead and get it. Any other thoughts before we move on to her abilities?
Not about the
I like
gear.
that has MP on it. But
Yeah, that is kind of nice. It's become more of an issue lately, so I think it's good. All right, let's look at her abilities. They gave us technically 3, so we've got the Musical Virtuoso Magic, boost magic by 1250, which is an odd number. Boost equipment magic by 100% when single wielding. Fill LB gauge for caster. Fill morale gauge at the start of the battle. And then also she's got reduced resistance to katanas for all enemies. We don't know the amount, of course. Boost fire damage for LBs and abilities for magic in the caster. Deals morale-based magic damage to all enemies and activates Scarlet Anthurium 2 the next turn. So that sounds a lot like the rolling amp, right?
Yeah, same as Tsukiko's pretty much. Her LB.
Yeah.
Her base LB.
Yeah. And then the featured ability they gave us is Slayer Symphony First Movement. Removes reductions to magic, boosts her magic, boosts physical and magic against beasts and demons for all allies, and activates Slayer's Symphony second movement next turn, which was probably going to be really good for this upcoming Clash of Wills, right?
Probably this. It's probably the same move but higher mods.
Yeah. Cool. Not a whole lot there that they're telling us, but we know she's helping us out.
I wish that they would have went over this slide actually more than just show it, because they just showed it and then moved on to the next one. They didn't even talk about the skills.
What do you want to know about these skills?
But that's the thing. It's a missed opportunity, because then we have to wait for the data mine on Thursday, because they're afraid of getting into it and the devs having to change something last minute is what I'm guessing.
Something that I hope is that I hope this is the 250 killer for Beast, because I was recently going through killer options for Beast, and there's no good one. Like, there's no 250 Beast killer at all. Like, nearly every race has a 250 source, either self only or like a single target like Rosa and stuff, or Ilmatil. Beast just has bad options, like real bad options. So hopefully this is our 250 Beast killer.
They usually try and fix things like that with the global units, so
that would be nice. Let's take a look at her vision card. Instrumental Inspiration. So the stats on it is at level 10, 130 magic. Also gives 50% magic, fire resistance 50, and LB damage 50%. And then for FFBE units, magic 500, fills morale gauge based on the active allies on the field every turn.
Okay, I like the fills morale gauge, the essential Esther Wilk card buff. And I want to know, why does she have Keen's instrument?
Well, that's probably going to require some sort of lore or story event. So, we'll see you in 6 years for that one, right?
Maybe the animation will have something relating to that.
Maybe.
But the card to me is just okay. At this point, I just expect a little more again, just a bit more. Could have been 150, because the new standard is going to go towards 150 for a short period. For the match base stat, could have been 100 LB. Just a little more, because we want to close the gap between meta units.
So somebody said in chat when they showed this card that this was going to be better than Dark Rain's vision card. What's your thought on that?
Well, Dark Rain gives more magic, it gives more LB damage, it gives the exact same flat magic, so the only way this is better than Dark Rain's is if you desperately need that morale, or I guess the resist. But other than that, Dark Rain's is literally just flat out superior, because it's more magic, more LB damage, same flat.
Yeah, because it's 100%, right? Yeah.
And the base and the flat is the same on both. So
how long ago did he come out? 9 months?
6 months? Yeah, 6 months. But that's what I'm saying. It should have had just that little more, just to close the gap between upcoming meta units, just to say, hey, this is valuable for a little bit, a little longer.
Yeah, the card's fine. It's just that at this point, I feel like we're overloaded with cards. So another card being the same as the past 6 cards we've gotten, like, okay, sure, not a bad card, but it's like just basically worse than Ayaka's card, because Ayaka gives you a really useful ability and the same stats.
I actually hit the card cap this week.
Oh, way to go.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I hit it as well this week, and I keep having to fuse Cactuars.
Oh,
it's terrible. I'm fusing random Cactuars into cards I haven't leveled just to get my inventory down, because there's no way to sell them.
No, you can't sell them. You have to keep merging them into the new ones you're gonna get, which is terrible.
so we need
you can only merge 15 at a time.
Vision card UI update is what you're saying.
The issue is that's probably never going to happen, because this is a completely unheard of problem in JP, because JP cards, like Cactuar cards, just like don't exist. And the reason I like never level cards in JP, because I can't. That is completely a global exclusive problem, because they flooded us with Cactuar cards, which is a good thing, but it led to this problem 3 years down the road.
Yeah, I have never once been like, man, I wish I had more Cactuar cards. I don't know. Maybe like the very first week Neos came out. Nice thing about her is that she's not premium, because they said that you got the card at EX1 and EX3. So, theoretically getting 2 of these, which is kind of nice.
Did they mention if she's a limited unit? Kind of like Chow and all?
I don't recall hearing them say it. I would have to go back and listen to it, but I don't remember them saying it.
I don't think they mentioned whether she was limited or not.
I would kind of assume she is.
I think she's just a seasonal unit, but you're right. They did not mention that she's just a seasonal specific unit or anything like that.
I don't, with them coming off of all these seasonal units and these time limited units, I want to say if they didn't mention it, she's permanent.
Well, it's a detail, hopefully, that will be answered on Tuesday.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see that. Yeah.
I would just assume personally that she's seasonal.
Yeah. I mean, we all kind of know that, like, October to February is, like, the roughest time of the year for people who are trying to pull on a budget and collect, limited stuff. So I would kind of assume that she is, but I hope not. Alrighty, so that's kind of the end of Cleome. We're gonna take a look now at the upgrades for Reno. Who cares? Does anybody care?
I will say it does make him the best breaker for Final Fantasy VII, which is only really relevant for like literally one EX fight in the distant future. He is the best option for that. That being said, you definitely don't need it. I traded Reno's crowns for a gold crown in JP because I didn't care. Mm-hmm. So I still beat it. So
he would have been great on all this Final Fantasy VII content we just had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, he was supposed to be about a month ago, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that really irks me is that this one and the next one that we're about to see. It's coming out a week after. Potentially useful for Dark Visions, potentially useful for the content. Here's Sephiroth. So finally, we're getting confirmation that yes, it's coming, and here's what it is. Is this the same as what he was getting got in JP?
Pretty sure, yeah. In JP, they upgraded his mod, gave him flat attack, and they also added a bunch of skills into his kit. So now he has like 3 or 4 chain families instead of just SR. But he's still functioning the same. Like that's only for like the chain count score or something. As far as his use, exact same usage. Okay. So you use LB, repeat.
But you see, like it's just 2 lines almost. Like it's 2 points that they made for him. Like for global add, just a little extra. I don't know, upgrade mass immune to +5 or +4 or whatever it is.
Yep.
Just add more.
That happens in the next 7 event.
So it could have been mentioned. You know what I mean? It could have mentioned soon. Just give us a little more.
What were you going to say, Flip? Okay. So coming with the Reno and Sephiroth upgrades are, they said, an event, the power of the legendary hero. Looks like, upgrading, getting like silver crowns and pots and things like that. Ores, yep.
And a new ability for Sephiroth.
Is this, I think I remember you saying, Sinzar, in the news last week that there was like some EX fights to try and upgrade them. Is that what this is supposed to be?
Yeah, that's what this is. It's an EX fight, 4 stages. Each stage gives a silver crown. It takes all 4 to max them out. They're all locked to Final Fantasy VII only. The level 4 is generally very, very challenging. Mostly due to lack of options. That said, Final Fantasy VII has a really huge roster, so this one probably won't seem too hard, but it does get very challenging to beat the level 4 crown battles in some of the smaller realms, like the Final Fantasy Type 0 one. Not 0, the one for AFMA, Final Fantasy 11.
Mm-hmm.
One, for example, was insane because Final Fantasy 11, you have like 2 units. But yeah, this one shouldn't be too hard because most people have a bunch of Final Fantasy VII guys.
Yeah, lots of options.
What is that new ability?
That is Sephiroth's 150 Amplify. It's not actually a materia, it just goes directly onto the unit. By doing it unlocks the ability for the unit.
Oh, so when as a completion reward, it unlocks the ability.
Yes. Well, like all the blue magic used to do. Okay.
Exactly, yes.
So that says that this event period is 119 to 2-1. So does that mean that anybody who plays afterwards does not get that ability for Sephiroth?
Correct.
Ooh.
So don't miss it.
Don't miss it. Do you have to have Sephiroth to unlock it? Or
you do not. No, okay. You do not. You can just beat it. Now, I will say, in JP, they created an entirely new game system. I'm not sure the official name. I call them, old keys. You get keys and you use them to replay old time-limited critical stuff. So, for example, if you miss Reno when he goes away, assuming Global copies the system, you can use these keys to replay Reno's event and get him and all his upgrades. Same thing for Sonnen and the future like Helger, etc. I think they might add these abilities to the key system because I always do them when they come out. I've barely even browsed all the key battles. It might be in there, so maybe you can do it in the future if you miss it this time, but if possible, do it within these 2 weeks.
So that's something to keep an eye out for. Big question that I know is probably on the tip of everyone's tongue. Is the Reflect Ring event in there?
No, it is not.
Oh!
That is not. It is just for the unit stuff. So all the blue mages, you can get their old blue magic if you missed it, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but as far as gear and all, that is unfortunately still gone.
That is unfortunate.
I wonder if any global exclusive stuff will also see that if that ever comes over, like global original gear.
That'd be pretty cool if they did.
That would be very cool. Awesome. So I think now we're going to dive into the thing that we're probably all excited about, and that is Clash of Wills, the Hare of unknown origin, whose name is Hare.
Hare?
So
I think the sprite is very cool looking.
Yeah.
I do love the sprite.
I love how it's got glowing red eyes and looks like bloody red hands.
I'm just wondering what's he hanging on? Is that like a
pot of greed from Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh,
that's what it looks like. Yeah,
I mean, it does look like that. I agree.
Some sort of a jar or a vase or something. Kind of cool. Now, I don't remember what it said in the monthly bulletin, but I feel like in the monthly bulletin it put dark first on the weaknesses. But here they're showing fire first on the weaknesses, and Cleome is very clearly oriented around fire based on the description of like what they gave for her. What do you guys think about that?
Seems like dark first was a typo at this point. Because, yeah. Cleome's fire, and they're putting fire here, so it seems like that was just a misordering on the news.
And I'm disappointed by that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was really excited to potentially have a good dark support unit as a global unit, and for them to come, for it to be fire, I'm like, oh, come on again. Like, this is the third one, fourth if you count Chow.
It's more than 4.
Well, of the global Clash of Wills units.
They've skipped dark for forever.
Yeah. What's the deal?
I think that they want you to get Theosis when he comes out.
Yeah, I was just going to say, lots of content around Deosis' release is completely tuned around darkness, so Global is probably going to try to cash in on that and do something Global related for Dark around that time period. It would make more sense, I think. Mm-hmm. That's probably what's going to happen.
So they'll just stick to fire for now.
Fire. So speaking of, boss uses extremely high fire and dark resistance debuffs and deals dark and fire damage, sometimes on the same turn. And units who can support the party with boost of fire and dark resistance, such as Lunar Festival Cleome, will be key to this battle. Doesn't say if it's fire and dark magical or physical. What do you guys think, based on it being a hare?
So that scares me that it says, reduces your fire and dark resistance, and then on the same turn does fire and dark damage. That's a little scary, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty common. In like JP trial design, if you've done like the most recent Dark Dragon, it does the 800 in peril followed by fire attacks. So maybe Global's taking like a page out of that. If Lilith comes as like a DPS, she can do 200 dark resist for the party, also dark absorb.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that does 200 fire. Maybe Jekt? Someone does. I can't think of who it is. Who does 200 fire? Anyone remember?
I know. I don't know about 200, but I know Roberta can do 120.
Mm-hmm. That'd help.
That would make a good difference.
Yeah. I would assume that Cleome was probably going to have 200 to both, for resist.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. She had the buffer tag, and it's her event.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And the rewards that they highlighted for us based on this is going to be the Obnixis Drop Hydro, includes Louise and Fravia and Rykard and the Dragon. Wyvern.
I have to say, Louise makes me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on.
How long?
I mean,
so you can have a 90% Spirit Breaker to go with your Cleome.
Yeah.
They could have put all of it at this point.
That's kind of true.
she seems a little bit meta to be in the free shop at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe it's a little too early, but come on, Louise, seriously, she already had her time in the shop.
I'm excited though that Fravia is there, just because she can do some really nice things for your team, especially now with Ayaka around. Give her Ayaka's vision card, and she's like good to go. I'm glad she's there for new players.
Yeah, Frevia's perfect. Rickard is a little old now, but good because he's still technically new. But Louise is old now. Come on, that's my only complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else than Louise.
You were asking earlier for 200% fire resistance buff.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Avalanche's Barret, Gabranth, and Silent Knight Charlotte.
That's right. Gabranth did get some stuff recently.
Oh, okay. Those are some options. So we have physical and magical tanks depending on what the fight wants. So that's good to know.
Yeah. I think, can't Gabranth also buff dark resistance?
He had like a 100 buff on a cooldown in his old kit. I don't know if his new kit.
His new kit gives a 200% buff to fire and dark.
Ooh.
Oh, so if it's a physical tank, he might be worth taking.
Maybe.
Assuming you don't pull for Cleome.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you do pull for Cleome, if you need a tank and he's viable, I'd use him because I love Final Fantasy 12.
One thing I wish they previewed in this new Clash of Worlds Exchange Shop stuff is the actual interesting thing, which for me is always the global exclusive unique materia.
Yeah, the new abilities.
Last season we had Helm and especially light armor mastery, which was amazing. And I'm really curious to see the new global exclusive materias this month, because those are usually my first picks for buying.
Mm-hmm.
If I can make a suggestion, and what I want to see is Equip Fist.
Well, there's equip things that we just don't have, so we have use grappling weapon, which got changed to Equip Fist, but there's only one of those that exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would like to see a new Equip Fist in the style of the Equip Helm and Light Armor they gave us. So that would be great.
There's some that we just don't have, like equipped throwing weapon, equipped mace,
and hammer.
Yeah, equipped hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, any of these ones that we don't have or have very, very, very limited versions of, I would like to see.
Do you think it would be too broken for them to make an ability that was like Master of Weapons and they can equip everything?
If that's all it did, I'd be okay with it. Like if it's a materia, but it doesn't have any like buffs or anything, but you can just equip anything.
Yeah, that seems fine to me. I don't really see a problem with that because it sounds overpowered. Oh, you can equip 16 weapons, but you can't. You equip one, maybe two weapons.
Yeah.
And so all it would be a convenience thing, and I think it'd be totally balanced and no problem at all, and it'd just be great to have because convenience,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it does say and more, so maybe we'll see something exciting there in terms of some abilities. There might even be more than those 3 units. Isn't there usually 4?
5, I think.
Okay. Who knows? Maybe there'll be something good there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. They also showed us some slides for some new events. So the Happy New Year, that's a cute name, with this weapon. I believe that's an instrument. It looks like MP 320, Magic 75, Spirit 135. So it seems like kind of an odd combination of stats.
Is Happy New Year a reference to rabbits, or is it a reference to like alcohol?
I'm gonna assume rabbits.
It should be rabbits because like it's Chinese Year of the Rabbit or whatever.
Oh, you're the rabbit. Okay.
That's why the boss is a hare, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you could make rabbits into alcohol, and then it would be literally a hoppy drink. I don't know. You probably can. Somebody probably has. It restores MP 10% every turn, and then it gives you some abilities. Consume evocation gauge to cure poison, blind, sleep, paralysis, everything basically, and restore HP gradually for the team. Or consume evocation gauge to remove breaks. And
that's
HP.
awesome.
I didn't notice that at first when they showed it, because this is one of those slides that they were just like flying through. But like those are nice abilities on a time limited item. I mean, that's like kind of
this
pause
is
on a
an
weapon.
Instrument, obviously.
Yeah.
But a two-handed instrument that at least with equip instrument, anyone can wear that gives those 2 abilities. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The thing is, does it say it's an instrument? I don't see anywhere in there that said it's an instrument.
It
Well, I mean,
looks very much like
It's got a bow.
It's-
It's like a bow and a string.
Ban's weapon looks like a spear, but
Oh
it's a
gosh,
fist
don't
weapon.
get me started on the items that are one thing and
So
called
when they
something
don't
else.
say
Yeah.
it's an instrument, I'm gonna wait for the official news.
Okay,
that's
but
probably a
whatever it
hammer.
is, as long as it's equipable, even by Equip X materia, then it's great because you could put this on like a Brave Shift form and switch over, cure the whatevers, and then switch back. I mean, it's very usable.
It's a very good it's a very good weapon. I'm just saying that I don't, I'm not gonna say it's an instrument until I see the official news.
I like
It's
that.
Very true.
It's cool. The thing for me is like we have way better options. So that's like kind of like if you want to cure breaks, you can do the Pause of Prosperity that not only cure breaks, it also buffs immunity for the entire party, stuff like that. So
If you
free
have
budget
it.
option, sure, but we do
Yeah.
have a lot better stuff. And same thing for the cure status effect. Riku's pouch has been doing that since 2016.
They didn't say they were going to, but I would kind of like them to rerun Pause. Just saying. If anybody hears this, please rerun Pause.
Great item.
And then the other items they showed were the villagers' robes, which are kind of like whatever, and the ornamental hairpin, which is also kind of like whatever. I love items that have multiple resistances, but 20% is kind of low at this point, considering how many things we can get that have 30 or better. So,
I mean, I'll take free resistance gear. Especially multi-resistance gear. One of them's got 1,000 HP on it. If it's free, I'll take it. Who knows when you have to gear a whole party for some crazy high amount of resistance and you're going through all your gear.
both of these do give fire and dark resistance 20 though, so that's potentially 40% for somebody if they're wearing it for Clash of Wills.
I mean, these are just for new players, honestly. These ones.
Yeah. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt. The thing that I'm most excited as far as events and stuff that they have going on though, they talked about, and that is the daily fragment challenge twice a day. So I have some positives about this and I have some negatives about it. Before I throw my opinions out there, what do you guys got?
This is just straight up worse than the way JP does it. I'm not entirely sure why they want to do this, because for a player that re-rolls their fragments for a high roll, and when you finally get that 9 or 8 roll or whatever, which would be double to 16 or something on the double, you're done. But now you gotta do it twice a day for global. It just literally adds double the tedium for someone that min-maxes their shards. For someone that just goes in once and who cares, well, even for them, it's still literally double the tedium. You've got to do twice the work. Why? Why not just do it like JP does and get twice the amount from the same run?
So how does JP do it?
You just get twice. So you get a baseline of 2 with a chance of up to 10. So 1 to 3. So base of 2 up to 6 per unit. So 2 to 6 per unit instead of 1 to 3 per unit.
And they do that all the time?
Oh no, it's special events only.
Oh, special
so maybe,
events. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4 times a year.
Rather than being able to run the dungeon twice, they just double the drop rate of the dungeon.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That would be much better.
Mm-hmm.
Still, for people who are starved for fragments, you can get them.
I mean, I'm very excited that they do this at all. They're giving us anything, because it took us how long to even get the Fragment Dungeon, period. So I'm excited.
We used to get Fragment Dungeon 3 times a year, 4 times a year. So this
Once
is
a quarter.
Yeah, once a quarter.
For
Cool.
sure. I'm definitely glad that we're getting double fragments, no doubt. It's just, why fix what's not broken?
Yeah, I like
why
that.
change it?
I like it. Those good question that needs to be asked. The other exciting thing for the Lunar New Year stuff is the up to 3,000 lapis. Well, I wonder what that means, up to 3,000 lapis. Does that mean that
because it's saying on a login bonus? So if you forget,
forget the
login,
login, okay, gotcha. And then a guaranteed 5-star and the 2 NV EX tickets, 5-star times 2, and more. So
that's my favorite thing. The and more is the best part every time.
Usually is.
Some energy pots.
Here's
need
some
energy pots
star
so bad.
quartz. Although I wouldn't be too upset about Star Quartz at this point.
I actually enjoy Star Quartz now.
Yeah, I was actually reading on people saying Star Quartz are actually apparently hard to get these days.
Mm-hmm.
And now that newer players are coming in and need things like Genji shields and all, it's actually hard for them to get it, because you used to get them from the Mog King. You'd buy them from King Mog, the shop, but now we don't have those anymore because of the new format. And Star Quartz, for like a player that started last week, they just don't have Star Quartz anymore.
So how much do you guys have in your inventory right now?
I checked recently when they announced the shop. I have over 7,000 Star Quartz.
That's awesome.
Yes, but I basically haven't spent them since buying things like the Genji shield years ago.
Right. I have 3,800. So.
I have about 3,000 left because I bought the Terra that I sold years ago.
Oh, nice.
I'm unsure how much I have.
Okay, cool. So we were talking a little bit before we started this discussion, and the four of us all agreed that the next two slides were our easily least favorite part of the entire stream. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this up here right now, and that is the Q&A section. So here was the Q&A question. Notice I said the Q&A question. Are there any plans to make future units Clash of Wills friendly, similar to Neovision's Cloud Strife? And the answer was, the team added an ability affected by morale to Neovision Cloud Strife, a unit from the JP version that was introduced recently to commemorate the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII to make this cloud useful for Clash of Wills. To clarify, that was a special case, does not mean the team will add abilities affected by morale to all other units from the JP version. However, while the timelines are to be determined, the team has other plans for many different updates, such as to release JP units with leader skills in the global version. Discuss.
This frustrates me because this is a complete change of directions from what they promised in the past. I don't recall the exact wording. If you want to be like super internet lawyer, you can go and look it up. But they absolutely led us to believe in the past, I think it was during the anniversary, that they are going to be updating JP units for Clash of Wills. I don't recall the exact wording, but whatever it was, I left that video thinking they are going to update most JP units to be Clash of Wills viable. It's coming in the future. Then it happened once, and immediately after it happens, the one time, well, we're never doing that again. That was a one-time deal. Like, what? Why the complete 180? What happened?
So I remember them saying that it was something that they were going to consider. And the reason that I remember that is because shortly after it happened, I did a video with Clad in Darkness where we talked about, like, if it was going to happen, what do we think it would be cool if it looked like, or who would be some units that we thought would be neat to do that with? Because I don't remember them saying they definitely were. I remember them saying they were going to consider it. And then I also remember them saying, when Cloud got his, they were going to be considering other units as well, but that this was mainly for, the special anniversary. I don't know. It is very frustrating.
I think they tried one out, decided they didn't like it, and they're choosing to move on.
Almost like the whole stupid not be intrinsic, because Cloud's upgrade, just honestly speaking, wasn't that great. And I seriously doubt anyone's going to be, I seriously doubt most people are going to be taking Cloud to future Clash of Wills.
Not this one.
His upgrade just wasn't super good. It gave him an okay-ish hitting attack. It's like mid-tier damage rating compared to other units, and he has no utility whatsoever in Clash of Wills. So wasn't that good. Now, you could say that's why they're not going to do future ones, but they're the ones that gave us the not-so-good upgrade. Like, why didn't they just make it good? Like, their unit designers are competent. They didn't accidentally give it a bad upgrade. They chose to give an underwhelming upgrade. So why not give him a good upgrade, make him desirable to pull for people that are interested in Clash of Wills? He's very obviously a hardcore Dark Visions type pull. If you want Dark Visions, you really want Cloud. But Clash of Wills, he was still super skippable. And it didn't have to be. Like, they could have easily spent an extra half hour in the afternoon to plan up some, 3 or 4 skills, make him useful in Clash of Wills, and he'd be a desirable pull. You can do that. You can even do it for just the premiums, and it'd still be fine. And I guarantee you that would have increased the sales of those units, but they gave Cloud a completely forgettable, doesn't even do that much single skill, and moved on. And now they're like, well, we're tired of that. We're going to just stop.
People would have probably actually pulled for Yuffie.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep. I think what annoys me the most is the very last section about leader skills. And I know that, among the four of us, we obviously know what leader skills are. We know what they're supposed to be and how good they are. I think that even the average player who, even borderline pays attention to what's coming down the pipe and watches videos knows about leader skills. So I feel like throwing that in there as a justification for like why we're not doing it is just kind of like low-hanging fruit.
I mean, it's saying we're not going to update the units because we're going to release JP units on the global server,
which we're already doing. It's kind of like a distraction. An attempt at distraction. I'm not distracted by it. We already knew these units were coming.
Mm-hmm. And we were discussing this before the video, but just to, retread that for the video, I'm not super happy about this because it almost feels like they're laying the groundwork to set us up to be ready for disappointment, because it's kind of seeming like instead of us designing good global leaders that are going to be equal or better to JP leaders, we're just going to give you the JP leaders. You need to pull for them to buff your Clash of Wills units. And if there isn't a good global leader to pull for those of us that try hard in Clash, you're gonna have to pull for the premium JP leaders, because they're such a game changer. And there's no way they just don't design around that. Like, they're gonna exist, and someone that takes Scarlet Rain to their Clash team is going to be head and shoulders above a player that doesn't have Scarlet Rain on their Clash team, and it is going to be tuned around that upper ceiling. So, and it's like a lot of players, myself included, were really on the train of don't worry about the JP leaders, we're going to go for the better global leaders. And it seems like from this, I could be reading into it too much, but it seems like they're saying, no, we want you to pull these JP leaders that are really one-dimensional and boring, but they're premium and they cost a lot, and that's what we want you to pull for.
Well, it seemed like months ago they gave us an announcement. They said, we're thinking about ways that we can make you pull for the JP units as well as the global units. Well, there you have it.
Mm-hmm. And that'll be really disappointing if that's their way to do it.
Elmsmore?
And, I was just gonna say that I agree with Sinzar. That is my fear that that's what they mean, and I hope I'm wrong, because it's gonna be awful. But could go either way. I really, really hope not. Knowing Gumi, probably will be.
Yeah, as somebody who just kind of relies on luck to get non-Clash of Wills units and do pretty well at it, I'm a little nervous about that, because I definitely can't go after both forms of content. And so if I have to go after both types of units to be good at the one thing that I really enjoy doing in this game, then it's going to be like, it's going to be rough.
Just clear 99 and be done.
Yeah.
But also, I'm reading a lot of laziness out of that question and answer, like extreme laziness, because to me it feels like we did Cloud for you. It took everything we had for us to do Cloud, so we're probably not going to do any more for a long time.
We gave him one skill. It took everything.
Yes, it was hard.
Well, they had to program said skill around them not being able to mess with it, though, when they make changes, though, right? That's got to be at least some degree of difficult. Because units that have skills that they suddenly change in the middle of like an update never get broken, like A2. Ever.
I mean, don't forget, Gumi breaks things that are already fixed on JP when they get the copy-paste information. So,
yeah, exactly. And I think, and this is going to be my big critical here, is just that in terms of laziness, I mean, I think it's really lazy that was the question. That is the one thing that they come to us with, like, because they always ask, they always say, like, if you've got questions, put them in the comments. If you've got questions, put it in chat. If you've got questions, post it on social media, and we won't answer them. Yeah.
I mean, Flip and I were in that live session that they had, like
Mhm.
for mini fan festa, which really wasn't a mini fan festa, to be honest. And we had a bunch of questions, and they would only answer the generic ones, not the very, the ones the community really wants to know. They usually just kind of go around it.
Mm-hmm. They don't like making public statements on things.
Or impromptu statements. to be
Right,
specific.
right. I mean, I know
that's
they're
true.
they're never gonna field questions from chat. Like that's just like a landmine situation. But like, I do wish that they would just like take some things that people really care about, questions that people raise, or like discussions in the community. Like there's got to be some way they can gather that information and put it together in a useful way.
Even if the answers to some of the questions is, we heard you, we're looking into it, that's fine. It shows that you know that the question exists and you are attempting to invest some time to develop an answer.
I mean, that was last month. Last month they said, "Oh, you don't like this ticket because it's stupid. Well, you can have a new ticket in 3 months." Like they at least addressed the question and said, "Yeah, we'll implement it 3 months from now when we don't have the rewards already planned out." But like,
one thing I'd like to mention that nobody asked, and it's very recent, and they never talked about it, or I haven't seen anything about issues, news. The last 5-6 events, the second week of the event, the friend units don't give any bonus.
I have not noticed that myself, but maybe I'm not paying enough attention.
I mean, there's lots of bugs. Like for the entire Christmas, from the Esper Ore dungeon, you couldn't get certain colors. Like it was like 4 different colors. You just couldn't get them the whole like Christmas run, like that whole break.
Yep.
Just not addressed.
And yeah, like I talked about earlier, stuff like current issues and all, they could definitely mention them at the very least. Like, oh, we've heard the feedback.
On
like
the
that.
other hand, I can also see them not wanting to like draw a bunch of negative attention, because there's probably some people who didn't even know it was an issue. But lots of people do say it's an issue, and so I think that's the bigger concern, is that this is a very community oriented game, and community talks, and yeah.
If they've got some patches for bugs that are coming out this week that'll come out in the thing, they could just say those in here and be like, okay, so the bug that was happening this week, we've got a fix coming for you on Thursday. It's something that's already happening, it's something that's already going live, but just acknowledge it.
We've
Just
already fixed it, and we're going to push it as soon as we can.
Yeah more than just the one question.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that's part of my comment of them just adding a little more to their streams. I mean, what's the purpose of the live stream? Is to have fun with your community, do stuff with your community, but discuss some things. But again, going back to the other statement I made, they don't like impromptu things. They like to have everything scripted for them.
All right.
I mean, hell, I could even take nebulous questions, honestly, like, Hiroki, where do you see the game in 5 years? And he'll be like, I see it going strong. Like, even nebulous questions are fine. Just something more.
Nebulous questions. I'm going to start asking you nebulous questions on your streams.
Go for it, please. I love to answer them.
I'm going to come out and do that. You go watch Flip's streams and ask him nebulous questions. He just asked for it. So
Medius and V when?
Yes, seriously, when? Any last closing remarks or comments from you guys before we wrap this up? Our 4th ever Beige Carpet live stream review.
Sinzar, go ahead first.
Not really. Just I hope that future live streams, they do more than just read the news of the week. Talk long-term plans, stuff like that. They could do. Talk about hype stuff coming up. Talk about the leader skills and how they're going to handle it, stuff like that. Just more engagement, other than this is the news. We're just reading from what's coming out on Tuesday anyway, and we see you then. I'll just.
That would have been really nice for people who had no idea what leader skills were. I know that there are people who don't, because I do see questions in Facebook about that a lot. Like, hey, by the way, you're no other units are getting morale because of this, and here's what this is.
But just to rebuttal what Sinzar saying, don't forget they promised like more clarity and visibility with the community since years ago, and they keep making that promise every year, and then they address it for a very short period, and then they go back to the old way of doing things.
That is true.
Flip, what about you?
It was better than the last live stream, and that at least I'm excited by.
I think we can all agree with that statement.
I don't know, man. Gandalf, I miss Gandalf, Justin.
That was a fun one. All right.
I enjoyed Justin's energy this stream.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! If you're saying his energy is like better than a Rock's energy,
he had better energy this stream, and I enjoyed
it. It was
the output.
It was an improvement. It was an improvement. I do think that Justin and Tony are like, what's the word that I'm thinking of? Just going back and forth with each other a little better. It doesn't feel as stiff as it did in the very beginning, and I know that just takes time to build that rapport with people. I do think that's an improvement.
On my end, what I'd like to say is that remember when Tony started these streams, he's like they're like almost weekly, not every few months or a month. Like they said that they were gonna do these streams like frequently. That didn't happen. Secondly, I'd like this is something we discussed off video. Is like, what about for them doing more stuff with the community, doing videos, how to do this fight, how to do that fight, how to discuss future fights, discuss future events, blah blah blah. Just actually interact with the community outside of their enclosed one-line question that nobody wants to hear.
So, I mean, heck, you could even do like here's the new intern. He's never played Brave Exvius before, and we're having him fight this. Let's see how he does. You know, like you can just have.
Why
fun
not?
Stuff.
Yeah.
So why not? You know, I love the wasabi stuff at the beginning, but why not content like this for their community to be a bit more engaging? For them to say, "Oh, I encountered this bug. I've discussed it with our devs. We're gonna be working on it." Stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'll just say, because we were having this conversation, and when I brought this up, all four of us were like, "Oh, that was really cool when that was happening." And I'll just say, like, Tony, when you were doing the like, I'm gonna learn how to play this game, that was really cool. It was really neat to see, like, you know, somebody who was gonna be the face of the game trying to figure it out and learning the story and learning how things work. And I thought it was really neat. I would love to see more episodes of that, frankly.
Agree.
Anything extra is good.
Extra is good. Communication other than live streams and content other than live streams. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for right now. So if you've stuck with us for this long, I really appreciate that. And we'll see you guys in whatever next stuff is coming, which should be on Tuesday. Everyone say goodbye.
See you next time.
See
Have
you
a
later.
good one. Thanks for having us.